Before I was doing readings, I learned about energy. I learned about entity clearings. I learned about shifting and using the language of energy, and I learned about the chakra system. I'm going to share with you why it's so important to balance these beautiful meridians and chakras, these energy centers within your reality, and why it's connected to mediumship. My name is Victoria Bond. I'm a psychic medium, a spiritual empowerment coach, and I've been teaching mediumship with my signature program, Magnificent Mediumship. And one of the things that I really pride myself on is helping mediums embody their superpowers so they can bring them out to the world and create a ripple effect of change. It's deeper than just talking to a spirit, right? It's actually about connecting loved ones. And we must start with ourselves, loved ones that have passed us, the healing that is required, and to help the spirits pass over, as well as those of us that are left behind. This is why I got into mediumship, because I truly believe that we all have superpowers. Everyone is a medium. Everyone has psychic abilities, and energy is our first language. And it begins with the body, it begins with the chakra system. So, why I think this is so important is mediumship and chakras and how we dive into these energy centers and how they are different for everybody is really important. So, the typical chakra system is we've got the root down here. And then we've got the sacral, then we've got the solar plexus, then we've got the heart, then we've got the throat, then we've got the third eye, and then we have got the crown. Now, the mistake that I see in these spiritual realms and collectives is a lot of spiritual people and channels are very upward, okay? So they will favor the third eye and the crown, and everything else is a bit out of whack. And what is my proof here? What is my proof? And by the way, I'll tell you things that other people won't tell you, and I don't mind ruffling feathers, okay? So this is why I'm very straight up here. But if your body is kind of feeling a bit fucked up, if your body, if you'll see a medium and the medium has got so many body issues, right? Yes, they're sensitive. Yes, they're empaths. But if your chakras are not balanced because you're not doing the yoga or the walking or the stretching or the meditating because you're giving from the energy of this like people pleaser, trying to prove. And a lot of mediums, a lot of spiritual people are like this. Like they have this kind of spiritual poverty that comes with the job, right? Mediums don't make money. Well, that's not true. I've made $1 million within 3 years by utilizing mediumship and my superpowers. And I teach others to do the same thing. If you are not balanced within these lower from the throat down, then basically you are not grounded. And you will stay broke. You will stay in this kind of spiritual poverty, if you will, and you will constantly feel like you're drained, like people are taking from you, including spirit. We must have boundaries with spirit, and we must have boundaries with human beings, okay? Because spirit is literally a human being with no body, and a human is basically spirit with a body. You are spirit, and to know spirit is to know yourself, and everyone is a medium. These are the things that I have repeating all the time because I'm trying to seed them in so people can understand that this is an inside job. So for me, I go to this energy clearing workshop and I get my chakras checked. I had only my third eye and my crown open. I couldn't shut up. I was constantly tired. Like my life was just like, I felt like I could not get my grounding, my grip on life, you know. I balanced those chakras that day with a YouTube sound meditation. It was like a 7 or 8 minute meditation. And then I did that every day for about 2 years because I felt so completely different with my chakras balance. I felt like I knew who I was, where I was going. I felt grounded and centered and held. Before I felt like I was like in my head. And a lot of spiritual people that are constantly giving and people pleasing, they are all up here. So they're seeing things, they've got visions, but they are struggling in their human life. This is why we want to balance them. Now, the truth is you can do this yourself by holding the pendulum in front of you and working your way up. A quick 5-minute fix that you can do in the bathroom if you feel like you just got your chakras whacked out because your boss just said something to you, right? That's such a good hack, and honestly, it was so good. It's what I still like teach today. I'm like, guys, you need to balance your chakra because your sacral is wackety woo, right? How is this connected to mediumship? Well, you're going to give shit readings if you are not balanced, okay? We know this. Fill up your own cup, and then you've got more to give. And when you give from overflow, we know that you're giving from generosity of the heart. We know that you are open. We know you're leading with love. When someone is giving out of guilt or because of shame or because they feel like they have to be accepted and loved, it's got a different type of charge to it, right? The root is really important. And I feel like the root chakra being balanced is actually the most important chakra to be balanced. I personally would rather my root, my sacral, these lower chakras here, these energy centers, I would rather them balanced than the top ones. Because if I'm not grounded, if I'm not feeling confident within myself, and if I'm not feeling creative, I am a shit channel. In fact, I don't even channel. I come first and then I serve. The root chakra, they bring the color red in. They affiliate the color red with the root chakra. It is connected to the earth. And this is the first chakra that is formed because when we are born, we are just like so conscious. So it is the first one that is formed. I think it's the most important for when we're doing readings because I don't know about you guys, but when I have a reading from someone or when I'm watching somebody, I want them to feel like they've got themselves. I want them to feel stable within themselves. I don't want somebody that is mentally, literally unable to hold themselves in their life, giving me a reading and giving me advice about my life. So one of the things I pride myself on is people say, I always feel safe with you. And I've had this from family members. I have this from clients. Obviously, I get this from my children. Mummy, I feel safe with you. I want to sleep with you again. I'm like, oh my God, does this ever end? So having the root chakra balance gives you a deeper connection to the earth, which means you've got a deeper connection to the elementals, which means when you're doing your mediumship, you can hear from the mermaids and the dragons and the pixies and the fairies, the tree collectives, Mother Nature, the beautiful Gaia Sophia, our planet, who is a living entity, the birds. Literally, you can see things because you are grounded and in. So you'll find that a very grounded medium, human being, because we're all mediums, right? Like I said before, everyone is a psychic medium. Everyone has superpowers. Everyone is an X-Men with powers. We're all just very unique. But you will find that a grounded, centered person, you will feel so safe around them. So if you want to do mediumship, then make sure that you're grounded. How do we ground? Some people said to me, what does grounding even mean? Literally, and if you were like me, I was literally fresh. I didn't know what a chakra was. So this workshop blew my mind. I was so grateful because I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to remember what these chakras are and their colors and all these things. But grounding is really, like I said before, it's like holding yourself. And you can do this by standing on the ground, like on the earth, by coming into the present moment. So a real thing I like to do is to visualize the earth's energy coming up through my feet, up my legs, and really working on this root chakra. And I like to visualize it spinning clockwise around and around and around. So you can massage the feet and the legs, and it's going to help to balance the root. You can get people to hold on to your feet. Sometimes if I had a really big day and I'm like, whoa, slightly peopled out, overstimulated, like I'll say to my husband, do you mind holding my feet? And I know my sister does the same thing, and her husband will hold her feet. And what this does is it's just a contribution from somebody else to really ground in and to get you reset in this root chakra. This is so important for mediumship so you can give a damn good reading and know that you're coming from a space of depth. Okay, so the next one is the sacral, and the sacral is here just below the belly button, which you probably remember. And they say it's like an orange color. Okay, so I personally don't see colors with the chakras, but this is what many have seen. So I don't know where the colors come from. Maybe it's the rainbow, and the rainbow is, kind of like this massive giant aura that we have. And we have a rainbow aura. It's very exciting and amazing. But whether you see colors or not, it doesn't really matter. I'm just kind of telling you my experience here and the information that I know. So the orange is affiliated with the sacral. Now, the sacral is about sexuality, sensuality, creativity, divine femininity. And I just love the sacral. It's probably the one that I've had to work with the most. And I would say it's the one that I've really had to help my clients with the most because we have got so much conditioning and programming about what it means to be sexual, what it means to be sensual, what it means to be creative, right? So the sacral is all about being innovative. It's all about being creative. It's all about being bold and the feminine. Whether you're a male or female does not matter. We all have male and female energies within us, okay? So the sacral, of course, that was developed after the root, and the sacral is really about pleasure. It's about, some people call sacred sexuality, and sexuality doesn't mean like having to have sex. It's like actually about self. It's about what you enjoy, what pleasure means to you. Pleasure for me means lying down, listening to an audiobook and going to sleep. It means going for a walk on the beach. It means listening to my favorite music. It means recording this. This is my art right now. So I really dive into the sacral when I am creating. So this is connected to your mediumship gifts because you must be creative to be a medium. People say, but I'm not creative. And I'm like, whose rules are you going by about what creation is? You are a creator, especially as a female. We literally can grow children and birth children. And not only that, even if we don't have children, we are birthers, we are creators, because the truth is the feminine really is the one that brings it forward into the world, okay? The masculine can give us energy, of course, and we're the ones that birth the creations down. We're the ones that makes it pretty. We are the detailed people. We are the ones who make it our own. We are the ones who've got the power and the strength. And this is what the sacral is all about, this divine femininity, creation and art and power. Now, a lot of us have chakra that may not be quite as bright as it's meant to be. Maybe we're not in our power as much as we'd like to be, and maybe we're not as confident, which is the next chakra we'll talk about in a moment. So it's so important to work on the sacral as much as possible. As females, we've been told, suck it in, right? Suck it in. Don't let it out. This is what you're meant to look like. Pretend that you haven't had 2 children. Pretend that you haven't gone through, peripause or menopause. And like just, I remember getting like a corset thing. Back in the olden days, we had corsets. Like it was like you're farming with a freaking corset on. And even these days, I've had those like sucky in things where like, like a little corsety thing. And one day I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I am a mum and I don't want a waist trimmer thing. I want to be healthy. I want to be confident. I want to be an artist. I want to be an expression. And I've really found that for the sacral, what helps is, you're not going to believe this, ecstatic dance. Guided ecstatic dance and music really helps me. And when I've gone to ecstatic dance, because I go to many retreats, I love to pour into myself so I can be the best version of myself for my clients and my audience. And I'll find that, there's people at all ages and stages. Some people are just like wearing their bras and some trackies. Some people are dressed up in dresses, and everyone is going into their own expression of self. To express yourself through the sacral is to really honor those that have come before you, to heal all of those things that they would not do by you doing it, by allowing yourself to be a bit edgy. Okay, so you can visualize a beautiful orange light, if you will. If you could even make it gold, you could make it like a rose gold. So it's kind of like this orangey yellow color, whatever feels good for you. And you can visualize that spinning clockwise and visualizing it being bright and clear and clean. I love doing meditations where I go through all of the different chakras, where it's like, okay, let's balance this. Let's make this align as we stack that next one on top. Okay, so let's jump on. Obviously, I'm very passionate about this. Okay, so I'm hoping this is helpful. Let me know if it is. And if you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, make sure you do, because we are growing this channel. I want to reach as many people as I can with this information. So if you feel like, this would be a good video for somebody, feel free to flick it through, because I wish I had this information before I was 33 years old. Okay, it would have been a real game changer for me, because I wondered why I was always so up in my head and I was never grounded. I wish I knew about grounding and about the expression of being myself rather than trying to fit into somebody else's motherfucking box. Okay, so the next one we've got is the solar plexus. Now, the solar plexus is yellow. Okay, it's like as bright as the sun. I'm always like, visualize it's bright as the sun. It's all about confidence. Okay, it's all about confidence. I don't see a lot of people that have got a super balanced solar plexus unless they are balancing every single day. Now, in human design, so I'm going to thread this through, but I'm not going to go too deep into it because I don't want to confuse anyone. But in human design, we have got defined energy centers and undefined energy centers, which means that we are empathic and super psychic. Like literally, when I say psychic, you can read everything around you and everyone around you through different chakras. So, for instance, the solar plexus in human design is associated with emotion. We taught that it's about confidence, okay? And you'll find that a lot of women will have like issues in this top of like the belly, the top of the belly, because they and bloat and food stuff going on. And we've been told again to suck it in. We've been told to act a certain way, fake it till you make it, please people. And once we realize, we either get to an age or we get to an awareness where we're like, no, I want to please myself, and I want to get healthy, and I want to be clear, and I want to be confident. We start to go on this journey and exploration of awakening to the self. To know spirit is to know yourself. Everyone has got superpowers, and we start exploring and investigating. And this is often connected to the solar plexus. Now, mine is open, which means in human design, I'm an empath. It means that I can feel other people's emotions as if they are my own. There is a big difference between sympathizing with someone and feeling what they are feeling. So when this is connected to your mediumship, what I find that when I was first doing readings, I would just start bursting out crying and being like, oh my God, he's saying that he loves you so much. Like I can feel the vibrations as I'm translating what spirit is saying to me, especially when you're talking, to someone who's taken their life and he's saying to his daughters, I'm so sorry, I love you so much, and you are the light of my life. And it's very hard not to cry or to feel it as if it's yours. Now, if you've got a defined solar plexus in human design, then it's not that you don't empathize, but you deeply, deeply feel the pain of the other because you've experienced so much in your life. So you know what it feels to feel really high and really low because you are what we call emotional. Okay, so we've got emotionals and non-emotionals, and I'm a non-emotional. It doesn't mean I'm not emotional. It means when I'm with people, I'm quite emotional because I can feel them. When I'm alone, I'm very chilled. I don't have highs and lows when I'm alone. I am cool, calm, and collected. Nothing can rock me when I'm alone. So the solar plexus is all about confidence. It is all about showing up and shining. If you feel a lack of confidence, you're going to feel a lack of confidence in your readings, and you're not going to want to go and explore new things and stretch your edges because it's going to feel like it's too much. Your capacity just won't hold it. So balancing this solar plexus and allow it, which is the center of your body, right? It's really, really important. And use your hands as well. You can use your hands to balance yourself. You can allow yourself to heal yourself because there is no healers. There is just people that help to other people to facilitate energy, okay? Which is also something interesting that so many people need to hear because when we go, I'm a healer, we're not really healing, we're facilitating energy because we can direct it, okay, for other people. We are the healers of ourselves. Okay, let's move on. How is this resonating with you? I would absolutely love to know. I wasn't sure how this video was going to pan out because the guides say just go into a transmission and share about chakras. Someone needs to hear this today. So maybe that is you. Maybe it's somebody you send this to. Maybe it's someone that listens to it in 10 years. I don't care. I am here for it because I wish I had this video when I was feeling like I was going crazy because I was so psychic and I wasn't grounded. Okay, so the next one is the heart. Now, oh, the heart chakra. Okay, I don't even need to say too much about this. Okay, the color is green or pink if you want to associate it with a color. Now, I just see it as white. Okay. I just see everything coming from the heart space and I see it as a portal. And often I'll do meditations and I'll be like, okay, some of my programs, we have really galactic programs and we also have like real goddess programs as well. And I've got my signature program, Magnificent Mediumship, but some of these programs, they are about portals and they are about completely like time traveling and astral traveling and stuff. And I always use the heart. The heart. So if you would like to travel forward, travel back, travel side to side, if you really want to come into this kind of quantum travel, quantum physics, you always come into the heart. If you want to magnetize your manifestations, if you want to literally transform your entire life and the life of others, you want to come to this puppy. Now, the coolest thing about the heart chakra and this heart portal is coming into 2027. It has been predicted that we will be going less kind of thought, less reptilian, like based of A, B, C, this makes logical sense, I'm choosing this, and more into how do I really feel? So you need to connect into that solar plexus, right? You need to connect into all of the chakras working together in harmony, but what is my heart telling me to do? What is feeling correct for me, even if my brain is telling me not? What does your heart want to do? And how can you choose from your heart and not your head? I'm all about questions create more consciousness, more conscious awareness of what it is we want to bring to the world. Now, if we have people that are not asking us questions, then we don't grow. We become more finite. But to become more infinite, and come into the heart space and to expand with love and wisdom, so much wisdom within your heart. This is where your Akashic records are. This is where everything is. This is where your all-knowing soul is within this heart space. Your soul is within your heart, although your body is within your soul. So, it doesn't seem to make sense from the logical brain. It's not meant to make sense. The heart doesn't make sense. The heart wants what it wants. And then we need to back ourselves and back our decisions. So mark my words when I tell you the next few years, it is the most important thing is to follow our hearts, and the separation between those that are following their heads and those following their hearts is going to be really obvious. So the heart, like I said, affiliated with green, affiliated with pink. I see it as white, see it however you will. And I actually see this chakra as not the same size as everything else. I feel like this is where it's a bit different. I feel like we can have a really big heart chakra. Have you ever felt like you're walking around because you're so happy, you're so lit with your life? I remember experiencing this at like 18 years old. I was like, oh my God, I've got a hairdressing apprenticeship. Everything I do, it happens. This is so amazing. I remember walking around going, oh my God, I'm so in love with life. Everything's good. I wanted to hug everyone. I was like high on life. because I was magnetizing my manifestations. And every moment we have a chance to keep magnetizing our manifestations or let the external world come in and kind of shrink us. If we are being too big or too bold, like in the case of me being 18 years old, I literally had someone come along and, hey, get back in your basket, calm down, slow down, and literally try to put me into like a container, the container that I belonged in. And I ended up kind of getting depressed. I shut down my heart. I started getting back issues. Okay. Some of these symptoms that you can get if you close down your heart. We can't ever close it completely because we will die if we close our heart. We will die of a broken heart. This is what happens. I had an uncle that actually died of a broken heart when he lost his wife. Very sad. But like we can't close it completely because it's where our life force is. Okay, we can close other things down and our organs will kind of go with them, but the heart is different. It is not like a normal chakra. Now, I don't know if you've heard that before. I've never heard anyone else say that before. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Feel free to challenge me on this. Everything I say is a pure transmission and channel from my higher self and the guides that I work with. And this is what is coming through today, okay? And this is something I've known for a long time, but I've never voiced it. So you've heard it first. The chakra of the heart is no normal chakra. It is different. I like to really expand it. And like I say, in my high level containers, I open up the portals that are going forward and back and side to side. And we can really time travel and go through the multi-dimensional space through the heart center. If you feel like you start to bring your shoulders forward, you're trying to protect your heart. Maybe you've had a little bit of heartbreak. Maybe a past life is coming up where, or maybe there is this ancestral stuff I was talking about in the sacral that you need to clean up, right? Sometimes our ancestors want us to stay safe, so they try to keep us small. It's really important to stay in your own lane, slay in your own lane, and create and forge your own path going forward. Okay, let's move on. Alrighty, I hope you're still here with me, okay? Because as we're talking about this, there is a codex coming through my voice, which is actually working on your chakra, on your DNA right now. So sometimes people will find my voice, they'll be like, whoa, I just got to close my eyes. I feel like I'm going to pass out here. Or they'll be like, oh my God, I love this. I'm going to listen to this while I'm, running around the house or whatever. It can be quite activating. So just know you're always receiving a healing when you're listening to these YouTube videos, okay? So feel free to watch as many of them as you want, as many times as you want. Okay, so the next one, we are at the throat. Now, the throat is literally the one that I would say I probably still do struggle with a little bit. And that is because of the collective. Because I'm an empath, because I literally feel what other people feel, a lot of my centers, my energy centers, my chakras are open, which means I receive information through them and I have a filtration system. So with my throat, the speaking of the voice, a lot of my clients come to me and go, Victoria, I'm afraid of speaking my truth. I'm afraid of doing readings. And I'm like, I've got your back. Don't worry about it. I've got you. is the place to be, right? And they find their voices, they speak, they do the readings, they build confidence because action is literally the antidote for fear. Okay, so the throat chakra associated with blue. Now, this is the one that I do see the color with. I know that's crazy. I'm just kind of thinking about that right now because when I pull cards, I know that people are very visual, and I know that the colors, when I'm reading, doing mediumship, I know that the colors that I'm seeing are connected to that person and where they are with their chakra system. So that is how I read. And that is the rules that I put in place because we get to have our own rules. So, you want a stage? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to make millions of dollars? Do you want a lifestyle that is like just everyone wants something, right? And if you don't want, if you've got this perfect life, then that's amazing, but you're still on your mission, right? There's something that you're here for. Otherwise, you would not be here, especially in this timeline here. Coming to 2027, everything will change. We are leaders, and all those that came before us have gone through what they went through to get us here. Even if it seemed like it was terrible, even if it seemed like you were like, that doesn't even resonate with me, it doesn't matter. They got you here. They did what they needed to do to get you here. So the throat is about creating your own stage. It is about lifting that curtain, stepping in and taking a bow. How do you want that stage to look? I knew I was a stage medium before I'd even done a reading. I went to a reader and I said to him, I feel really weird and bad because in my hairdressing salon, I've just created a healing studio because I had a little side room and I was like, what am I going to do with this room? I'm going to make it into a healing studio. That's weird because I'm not a medium yet, but I know I'm a medium. So I told him this when I said, but I feel really bad because I'm not a medium yet. Who do I think I am to do this work? I know I am, but I'm not that yet. I haven't done any readings. And he said, who do you think you are not to? And it just hit me. He said, this is your responsibility to be a reader because you know you are. And you saying that, who do you think you are to do it, is your ego. And he said it in the most lovely way. And I was like, thank you. I went home and I finished and I had a chakra like shelf. I had literally got my dad to cut out these shelves and we got paint and I think I got my husband to paint them and we had all the chakra shelves in this little room that had no windows. And this is where I really started my business, where I was doing healings and light language and readings and coaching for people, right? That was my stage. And as I went on, I sat there and I was just like, okay, I'm a medium. I'm a platform medium. And I have never stood on a stage and done platform mediumship like the famous people or, paid for tickets and had a big events. I've never done that. But one day I realized, oh my God, I've been doing readings for like 4 or 5 years online. It's been longer now, but I've been doing this. I am a platform medium. I've just got a platform that is on social media and not on a fucking stage. But I'm reading for a dozen people at a time. That's about how many readings they would do in a show. I'm doing it for an hour and a half. That's a show. People are paying me to come and learn that there is the way that I work. This is my work. And that wasn't until Spirit said, you are now a stage medium that I was like, what? Pull the curtains, take a bow. You are welcome, right? So your stage can look any way. Okay, I've written a book. I have not published the book, but I've written a full book. And whether it gets published or not, I wrote a book. And I know that when I'm on my deathbed, I can be like, I wrote a book. Maybe it gets published. Maybe I've got 3 books in me. I don't know yet. But all I know is the speech, the freedom of speech is very much embedded into us. Okay, so there's a lot of programming, but there's a lot of good programming too. Speak your truth, be your truth, embody your truth. And we will find I get a lot of neck issues, right? I can say it's from hairdressing or the car accident at 19, after my heart had been kind of like I'd been put into my place and back into my box, and I felt kind of like, oh my God. So a bit of upper limiting going on because I was too bright for the world or the people around me. And the throat chakra, we will literally, when we're clearing things, we'll start clearing. And how is this connected to mediumship? Well, you will find that if you are reading for someone and they are finding it kind of hard to get their words out or they've got some throat stuff going on, you might get a sore throat. I have even felt my throat close up when talking to people. I'm like, hang on, I need some water. There's some throat stuff. Let's balance your throat chakra. It's really important. I will stop mid-reading and be like, do you mind if we just do a little bit of work on your solar plexus? Breathe in, breathe out, and I just work on balancing that so I can give a full reading. But I go first. because it's really important that I'm balanced so I can serve. So if you've got some throat stuff going on, if you get strep throat, if you get tonsillitis, sometimes kids get tonsillitis over and over. Why? It may not be because their parents are telling them to be quiet. It might be a collective thing. Maybe they've got an open throat, so they have, like in the human design, so they are filtrating through everything of the collective, you know. For me, I've got a defined throat, so I'm very good at speaking my own words. I've got my own wisdom within my own throat. So this will also affect this chakra. We want to be able to speak clearly and concisely, say what we mean and mean what we say. And this is all to do with the throat chakra. So you can visualize it as a dark blue, you can visualize it as a light blue. But in all honesty, I like to visualize the color when it comes to the throat. I'm not sure why. And every time I read and there's a dark blue card, I know it's always connected to the throat chakra. So interesting. I thought this was going to be a 5-minute quickie, but this is a little bit of a deep dive into the chakra system and how it is connected to mediumship. Okay, the third eye. This is the one that most spiritual seekers, light workers, healers are interested in. And I remember I went to a Reiki healer one day, and she is now one of my good friends. And she said to me, wow, your third eye is quite open, but I'm not going to open it anymore because, like, I don't want to scare you. And I was like, just open it. What the fuck? I'm a medium. I'm meant to be doing this work. Open the third chakra. Like, I was nearly fixated. Now, of course, she couldn't open it or close it because it's actually up to us. They are just facilitating the healing. So just to make that very, very clear, and I'm a Reiki master, so I definitely know this. But with the third eye, it's really connected into imagination. So imagination and even thought. Okay, so you've heard it here first, probably. Now the color is indigo. That's what the color. I don't ever see indigo. I only ever see white, bright, or like clear. I don't really see a lot when it comes to the third eye. When I close my eyes, I will often, if I'm going into a channel, I can see it right now because my eyes are closed. I see an eye pulsating. At first, I thought it was my imagination, but hey, did the chicken or the egg come first? Is imagination the key to our mediumship? Is what we're seeing and imagining like literally legit? If you are grounded, then you will know what you know. Okay, if you're not grounded and you're not holding yourself, then maybe you're loosey-goosey with your boundaries and your standards. Maybe you're seeing other people's stuff because you can't hold yourself. So this is why all of the chakras are so, so important. But for me, with the third eye, what really proved to me that I was psychic, I could see things, and this wasn't my imagination, because I've always had a great imagination. I was a hairdresser for like nearly 20 years. Like I had to be like artistic and creative, and I had to see things. Like I had to, people go, what do you want? What should I do with my hair? And I'm like, okay, let's look at everything as a whole, right? And that's what the third eye is about. So what really proved to me that I was all of these things was when I did my first reading. And I was seeing the man and the children, and I was seeing all of the stuff from my hairdressing client who was so graceful enough to let me dive into her aura and do a reading for her. And because I didn't use cards or anything, I was sitting there going, "Oh my God!" like, oh my! I was waiting for her to say, "You're full of shit. That was your imagination." But she said, "No, that was my uncle. That was his kids. They were blonde. He had dark hair. They had blue eyes. Yes, all these things that you said was correct. That's the best reading of my fucking life." Are you telling me my imagination, what I saw in my head, was correct? What? And that was, I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted. There's birds outside floating around. So your imagination is the key code to your mediumship, which is your third eye. But the third eye needs to be cleansed. Okay. To be a clear channel, we need to be a clear vessel. And the third eye often will have the pineal gland, right, will have like a calcium buildup. Now, this sounds really crazy, but from the water that you drank to the toothpaste that you use with the fluoride and certain things that we eat in our foods, literally is designed to block that third eye so you don't see. So a lot of people, they need to actually detox their body and make sure all the other chakras are balanced, and they're balanced, or they're in harmony, I want to say, like your life is in harmony. So then they start seeing, rather than going straight to the seeing, like I was saying to my friend, no, I want to see, like, please turn up the chakra, let me see it, right? I actually go back on that and say, I didn't actually say that to her. That's what I was thinking, because we weren't friends then. But I was like, how rude, like just not opening the third eye, that's what I'm here for. But I had to do the other work first, right? And of course, the third eye did become very clear, but it's not because I needed to open it, because it wasn't closed, but it was a little bit blocked. So I had to detox my body and myself and say, I'm willing to see and get rid of any fear. A lot of people come to me and go, why can't I see my spirit guides? And by the way, I've done a whole video on that, which is like connecting into your spirit guides. And that's one of the number one questions. Why don't people see their spirit guides? And often it can be because of fear in the subconscious, not even consciously in fear, or they have got their pineal gland that is blocked. So they're like, I just cannot see to save myself. And it might be that there's fluoride in the water, or their toothpaste has got fluoride in it, or the food that they are eating. I know that sounds so simple, it's ridiculous, but honestly, that is what I've seen so much. So I don't see a color with it. Maybe you do. I feel like an indigo color is just too dark for the third eye. If I'm doing card readings, of course, I see indigo, and I know it's connected to spirituality. So the indigo, the purples are spirituality, and they are the higher chakras. But when I'm looking at somebody, I certainly do not see the indigo. I think it's very, very light, okay? And I visualize light flooding through. When I go to silent retreats and when I'm working with the foundations of Buddhism and meditation, of breathing in and out and working with the Om, working with the Sat Nam, with Kundalini yoga and whatnot, breathing in and out of the third eye has been really helpful for my psychic abilities. Okay, last but not least, and I hope this has been helpful for you. Let me know in the comments what is resonating, what has popped for you. If you've learned something, I'd absolutely love to know. And I've already dropped some kind of hints about different YouTubes that I have, like with the spirit guides, and also my story about how I woke up. All of these are in the YouTube, the podcast, and whatnot. So feel free to go and watch them afterwards, of course, and let me know how they go for you. But last but not least, okay, and we're just working with the body. We're not going to be working with the meridians above and below that are not connected to the body today. We're just sticking to the main 7. So is the crowns. The crown is here on top of the head. Now the crown is seen as a purple or a white. I just see it as a white. Everything up I see as a white, apart from the blue here, okay? And this is really about galactic connection, soul source connection, higher self connection. And what will happen is within this filter, we often can get more in than we need, but we can get often more than we actually need, and it can get overwhelming and create a little bit of insanity. And that's why a lot of fear comes in, because people are like, oh my God, I don't want to be like that. But that's very rare that it happens. We've got a lot of spirit guides and angels that prevent from anything from happening. There is nothing to fear. You're the strongest entity in your reality. You have total control of what is actually going on, okay? But if it is wide open and there's an imbalance between the top and the bottom, this root, right, they need to be kind of balanced, because if they're not, you feel like you're going crazy. And I certainly went through that when I was going through my awakening. Thank God that I found the person who told me what the chakras were and how to balance them with a little old pendulum, right? And I mean, it was just the most activating day of my life, because I don't know if I would have ever found out what the chakras were, and maybe I would have never got into all of this mediumship stuff. Okay, maybe I would have just gone, well, that was a path that I didn't open that door to, right? We're all mediums, but we don't all necessarily choose it. Fate is not a finite thing. It's an infinite. There's many, 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 many paths that you can choose. It's up to you and how you want to go down that route, right? So the crown is a beautiful space, and this is where I travel to Christ consciousness. This is where I've expanded my capacity that I can go to a space called Christ consciousness, where I can sit in these fluffy kind of cloud-like, this is how I visualize it, and I can receive downloads and healings and modalities. I can receive information from different like galactic collectives, you know, I can go into different dimensions. And I do this with visualization, and this is what I teach in my programs. But of course, I do it through the visualizations, but we really need the crown to be balanced and in harmony and not blocked. We cannot have any entities around there. A lot of people will close their chakra. They will like close it down, not completely. Like I said before, you can't close them completely, but they will close it so they can't receive too much. They get stuck in their head. They get stuck in the I can't do it. They get stuck in the brain, the reptilian brain, the programmed brain, the conditioned brain, where the truth is that if you can open your crown and you can transcend beyond the mind, the most beautiful and phenomenal things happen, which is you start not just seeing, but you start to perceive. Why is this good connected to mediumship? Because a lot of mediums will limit their readings at what they can imagine and what their experience has been. So they will stick to the throat of what their experience has been, right? And just say that, which is their thoughts, their opinions, and they'll be limited from their imagination because they haven't stretched it, because they haven't been balanced enough. They haven't been in harmony. If you can open your crown and balance that, and you balance your root, so you got the opposites, then what will actually happen is you can go beyond your greatest imagination and you have no limitations. You can literally go to different planetary systems by literally traveling through meditation or through this transcendence process. This is why I love silent retreats, meditations, the principles of the Buddhism of the breathing in and out of the third eye, decalcification of the third eye, all that type of stuff. But with the crown, this is where you can reach. You can reach enlightenment. You can reach awareness, awakening, and you can go beyond the judgments of others, the points of views, beyond the system, right? You can sit at the soul seat and you can see, oh, wow, all those things happened to me for me, rather than, oh my God, I can't believe those things happened to me. Now I'm traumatized. The crown is a space that, whilst balanced with the root, this is where your magnificence, this is where it really lays. And this is why I've brought the chakras into today's video, because in Magnificent Mediumship, we don't just learn what a chakra is, we work on being the highest expression on all of these 7. I work with 9 because I bring the human design in, and I bring in the defined, the open, and the closed. When we are empaths, what our superpowers are within that, right? But every single one of your chakras has got a filtration system, and also is pulling from the past, and also it's really like eager to create more for your future. It is the way that you work and should be number 1 when it comes to your mediumship. Balancing yourself to create a beautiful space where you get to read for spirit. There's nothing worse than getting a reading from someone that is not balanced. We can smell it from a mile away because we are all intuitive. If you're getting readings, you're intuitive. If you've watched it this far, you are a medium. And of course, you're meant to be doing it in the world. So the crown chakra, purple or white, I like to just visualize this beautiful spiral that goes up to the cosmos, and this is where I receive information. It is a portal just like the heart, but it's really important to know that it works with the root chakra, and both of them together creates absolute magnificence. If you have been here to this very end, I just want to give you a high five. You indeed will be receiving such a big activation from this. So take your time, be present, you know, maybe go, and if you've got the power of now, go read a page of that. Maybe go and sit with yourself and do a chakra sound meditation, just a nice quick one, or go check out another one of my videos if you want to lie down and have a little sleep to my voice as you are literally downloading information. I've got plenty of meditations and videos for you, so hit subscribe if this has been helpful. Feel free to share it and come and say hi on my socials, and I hope to meet you really soon. And until next time, namaste.